From a white supremacist mass shooter rushed by a victim's family, to a disgraced doctor confronted by a grieving father. These are the moments when killers get attacked inside the courtroom. The man on trial was 18-year-old Payton Gendron, accused of carrying out a racially motivated mass shooting at a Tops Friendly Market in Buffalo, New York on May 14, 2022.
He was very heavily armed. He had tactical gear. He had a tactical helmet on. He had a camera that he was live streaming what he was doing.
Wearing tactical gear, he live streamed parts of the attack on Twitch just moments before opening fire.
I've seen the guy go in, army style, bent over, just shooting at people, and I heard him shooting at people, and then I saw 3 people laying down.
By the time police arrived, 10 people were dead, and 3 more were wounded. All of the victims were black. Dispatch recordings captured the chaos, with officers reporting multiple people down and an active shooter in body armor.
He shot a lot of people up in there. Oh my God. Yeah, he shot a lot of people in there.
Gendron eventually put his gun to his neck, but was talked into surrendering and arrested at the scene without a fight.
Who just perpetrated a hate crime on an innocent community will spend the rest of his days behind bars.
Investigators called the attack an act of terrorism. Prosecutors said he had driven over 200 miles with the sole aim of killing as many black people as possible to ignite a race war. He had mapped the store, posted a white supremacist manifesto, and even marked his rifle with slurs and names of past shooters.
I'm very sorry for stealing the lives of your loved ones. I cannot express how much I regret all the decisions I made leading up to my actions on May 4th.
In court, Gendron pleaded guilty to murder, domestic terrorism, and hate crime charges.
I want you to say a lot. I want you to think about this every day of your life.
During sentencing, families of the victims confronted him with their pain and anger, describing how their lives had been torn apart and hoping he would spend the rest of his life reflecting on what he had done.
We like our kids to go to good schools. We love our kids. We never go in those neighborhoods and take people out. Don't do it.
As another family member described the impact of the attack, a man suddenly lunged at the defendant from across the courtroom. Court officers quickly intervened before he could reach Gendron and escorted him out. Payton Gendron was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Michael Madison, a 39-year-old man from East Cleveland, Ohio, was tried in 2023 for one of the state's most disturbing string of murders.
Authorities believe he's connected to the recent murders of at least 3 women, their bodies found scattered throughout his neighborhood, wrapped in plastic.
Angela Deskins, Shatisha Shealy, and Sherelda Terry were 3 women he was accused of abducting and murdering, then disposing of their bodies in plastic bags close to his house.
Been 3 so far, and we definitely believe he's responsible for all 3. So there's no way we can say for sure that that would be it.
When investigators entered Madison's apartment, they were met with a scene of horror. His front door was boarded up, the rooms were littered with boxes and an unmade bed, and traces of decomposition fluid soaked into the floors.
Michael, you got anything to say? Got anything to say to Anthony Sowell?
Madison was arrested and charged with multiple counts of aggravated murder. If convicted, he faced the death penalty. At trial, the defense painted the killings as acts of sudden violence, claims they were not premeditated.
That each one of these individuals was killed with a sudden eruption of violence, not a considered course of action as required by prior calculation and design.
But prosecutors argued the opposite. They laid out a pattern. Each victim killed in the same way, in the same place, within a short time frame, and their bodies folded, bound with duct tape, and left in plastic bags to avoid detection.
Accordingly, the sentence of death is imposed upon the defendant Michael Madison on counts 1, 4, and 7.
Ultimately, Madison was found guilty on all charges. As the verdict was read, family members of the victims cried tears of relief and grief. During sentencing, Sherelda Terry's father addressed the killer directly, saying his family forgave him, even as Madison reportedly grinned back from the defense table. In that tense moment, the grieving father lost control and lunged toward Madison, sparking chaos in the courtroom. Security quickly intervened and removed him from the courtroom. He was not charged for the outburst. Judge Nancy McDonald condemned the killings as sheer inhumanity, detailing how Madison desecrated the victims before dumping them. She then handed down multiple death sentences. The man on trial was Larry Nassar, a former USA gymnastics team doctor accused of sexually abusing hundreds of young athletes under the guise of medical treatment.
You have to protect your athletes. You have to let them know that we care. You have to not let them know, but let them feel it. Let them understand it. Let them breathe it.
For years, he manipulated gymnasts, many of them Olympians, into believing he was a trusted professional while carrying out repeated assaults.
No excuse for it. It just happened. It was a bad judgment call, and we're here because of it.
Police said Nassar used his authority to groom victims and silence them. Early investigations were mishandled, and he was initially released. But as more survivors came forward with detailed accounts, the case against him grew impossible to ignore.
That's where I might feel like lifting. You actually sometimes like lift the hemipelvis.
When questioned, Nassar's attempt to portray himself as a victim and defended his so-called medical procedures. His excuses did not hold this time. As the public's anger and the evidence grew, prosecutors filed several criminal sexual behavior accusations.
Yes, sir. The life has literally been sucked out of...
In court, more than 150 victims gave emotional statements, describing how Nassar's abuse had shattered their lives and families. Parents also spoke of the toll on their children, including suicides linked to the trauma.
Would you give me 1 minute?
You know that I can't do that. That's not how our legal system.
During the sentence hearing, a grieving father asked to confront Nassar directly.
Our legal system.
When denied, he suddenly rushed toward the defendant before being restrained by court officers and escorted out. The moment captured the raw pain and anger that had filled the courtroom. Judge Rosemary Aquilina then delivered a blistering statement, making clear Nassar would never walk free again. Larry Nassar was sentenced to 175 years in prison for his crimes, ensuring he will spend the rest of his life behind bars. Frank Dellin Jr. was only 17 years old when he committed a crime that horrified Houston. Prosecutors said he lured his 16-year-old girlfriend, Diamond Alvarez, to a park and opened fire on her, shooting her 22 times, mostly in the back.
During the court hearing, we also learned that De Leon and Alvarez had broken up after...
The teenager was arrested and charged with first-degree intentional homicide. His bond was set at $250,000. To avoid a full trial, Dellin eventually agreed to a plea deal.
16-year-old Diamond Alvarez tells KHOU they fear something might happen to them since they have...
At a sentencing hearing, emotions were already running high. Family members of both the victim and the defendant packed the courtroom, separated only by a narrow aisle.
Diamond's mother saying...
Well, hey, Ray.
After the victim's mother finished an emotional impact statement, she attempted to approach Dellin, but was intercepted by a deputy. The tension exploded in an instant. Alvarez's uncle sprang from his feet, lunged across the courtroom, and punched Dellin in the face.
Heartbroken that he was let out on such a low bond, she says she lives in fear because he lives just...
The attack sent the room into chaos. The presiding judge bolted for safety as deputies scrambled to restore order.
That was a reaction Ana Machado had after she learned that the man accused of shooting and killing her daughter bonded out of jail.
Dellin's mother ran to shield her son, only to be tackled by another woman who unleashed a flurry of blows. The melee was so intense that it gave another defendant, Michael Combs, a chance to slip his shackles, ditch his ankle monitor, and escape the courthouse.
She had been shot 22 times as she lay face up on the ground.
In the aftermath, the victim's mother publicly apologized for the outburst, explaining that grief and anger had overwhelmed her. Ultimately, Frank Dellin Jr. was sentenced to 45 years in prison as part of his plea agreement. These courtroom eruptions show the raw power of grief and rage colliding with killers. Hit like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more cases you won't believe.